Hi, I'm Brandy. This is Hound Dog Hollow, and today I'm going to be doing my first review in a series of books, quite a few books that I have about like day-to-day or cyclical pagan living. I have quite a few books about that because this is a very topic that very much interests me, and that's kind of going to be my deeper dive for this year and possibly the next. It's just like how to live, how to honor the turning of the season, how to honor the seasons of your lives, how to honor the seasons and the cyclical nature of Mother Earth around you. So this is the first book that I'm reviewing. Unfortunately, it's one of the books that I'm also letting go. So let's just get started. This is Spirit Almanac, a modern guide to ancient self-care. This was a gift, very sweet gift, and there's nothing wrong with the book. It's a very I would say kind of like a spiritual, I want to say new age, but I feel like that has negative connotations at this point. Like a spiritual book for somebody who is not of any particular spiritual background and just wants a nice little dipping of the toes into various things that they could do over the course of the year to feel more magical, which totally is appropriate and has its place, and totally, you know, good place to start if this is where you're going to have an introductory into magical living throughout the course of the year. I especially like it because while it does address some of the Wiccan Wheel of the Year, it is not hindered by it. It does have a broad brushstrokes of a variety of cultures. So just some background about ritual or spirit seasons, how to use this book, terms that they're going to talk about that may not be familiar to people, and then so your spiritual toolkit, they talk about different things, so crystals, how to use them, finding the right one, herbs, how to use them, finding the right ones, essential oils. And of course this is very, very brief because as many of you who are watching my channel know that I have literally dozens, not dozens, that's excessive. Oh, well, okay, between the three topics, crystals, herbs, and oils, I have dozens of books with recommendations, correspondences, uses, formulas, and so on and so forth. So you could literally just write books about each of these topics and that would be enough, but this is just a very basic, if you were just dabbing your toes in the spiritual waters. Astrology, again, I have at least half a dozen books that go deep dive into these topics, but this is just a very basic introduction to your houses, to the Gemini, or to the zodiac, and how you might use astrology. Then it goes into a little bit about tarot, a little bit about breath work and meditation. Again, broad strokes, shallow depth. The moon and the sun, making the sky work for you. I think this is kind of like about, you know, following lunar cycles, special lunar holidays, crafting your altar and your spiritual toolkit. So just different recommendations for altars. And then we finally start into the topics, which is winter, a history about winter, modern ritual for winter, different recommendations for winter in general, some pages for notes, starting with the solstice. So one of the reasons why this book doesn't mesh with me, aside from it being this is like the last book that I reviewed, this is a primer for, I don't even consider this a 101 book. This is a primer book. This is like if you're spiritually curious in everyday pagan living, this would be a primer book. Just like the last book was, if you're curious about connecting with other beings, then What is Remember Live would be a primer book, not a 101 book. It would just be like getting your toes wet. And then if you still were interested, you might take a deeper dive with a 101 book. It's because, just for example, for the winter solstice, the recommended ritual is planting something, which I would not think of the winter solstice as a planting time. However, in your area, it may be planting time. Depending on where you are, it is subjective, but that's just my view. The first new moon of winter, she does do the first a ritual for the first new moon of every season. This one's a stargazing one. Again, I think of stargazing as summer. However, my birthday and the Perseids correspond, so that's probably why I think that. The first full moon of each season, she she talks about Christmas, which is really nice because I think that some spiritual books completely cut out Christianity, which I think is a disservice to pagans, because there's a lot. It's just another rich mythology that you could get lots of information from, and much of it is intertwined with pagan practices anyway. So I do like that. New Year's Eve, so kind of just different. It obviously covers secular holidays as well. New Year's Day, different recommendations for what you might do. Valentine's Day, it does completely skip over Imbolc. Tell a Fairy Tale Day, which is kind of like ephemeral. International Women's Day. And then we transition into spring, history of spring, modern spring rituals, some correspondences very briefly. This is a couple pages to write on. We have the spring equinox. She does cover each of the those 4 points. I do like that the pictures are of people of color, so that's great. The art is very cute. First new moon of spring, looks like a yoga ritual. First, so the other one was first new moon. This is the first full moon of spring. National Tea Day. Talks a little bit about tasselomancy. Earth Day, which is, super important day for many. May Day, so it does cover May Day. Many people also celebrate Beltane. And just some ideas for that. World Laughter Day. It's not something that I have ever celebrated before, but it's an interesting little segment of the book. Mother's Day is really, it's nice for it to be addressed and have like little practice rituals for all of these kind of random days. Then we go into summer, history of summer, modern summer ritual, some correspondences for summer, a little bit of space to write. Covers the solstice, with like an exercise idea, step into the sun, freeform drawing. First new moon of summer, talks about the joys of nature, going for a walk. The first full moon of summer, drinking up the sunshine. A flower essence ritual for expansion. International Kissing Day. Might be challenging if you are single. International Day of Friendship. The Qi Festival, I'm not saying it right, I'm sorry, but it's basically kind of like a Chinese Valentine's Day, to the best of my knowledge. Loving kindness and sound healing ritual for enduring love. Book Lovers Day. International Day of Peace. And then of course we have autumn. Season significance, history, ritual, notes, the Taste the Rainbow, a harvest ritual for abundance. Then we have the first new moon of autumn, take a breather, a breath work ritual. We have the first full moon, which is a humming ritual. We have the Make a Difference Day, a mantra ritual. We have the Samhain, a mandala ritual for guidance. 1111. So a talisman crafting ritual for good luck. World Kindness Day. It's a reflection ritual for self-love. Then we have Thanksgiving. Sharing is caring. A grounding Reiki-inspired ritual for healing. Letter writing day. Dear Diary. A writing ritual for presence. And then it has a brief epilogue. So this book certainly has its place. It's a nice primer to what I think of as intentional magical living, with some unique days that they chose to honor and acknowledge. So it was very interesting, but it is going to be for sale on my resale on my shop, because it's not a book that I would need to ever refer back to. And so the ones that I'm trying, because I have so many books at this point, the ones that I'm keeping in my library are books that I like to refer back to because they have like really good information that I want to keep as a reference. This was, very different, very nice, kind of like a breath of fresh air. But at this point, I have already been studying this topic for many years. And so aside from some very unique days that they chose to honor, I didn't feel like I got a whole lot out of it. But I do recommend it as a nice book for your spiritually curious friend. It is non-secular, so non-denominational, so I feel like any person could use this book. Christian, pagan, agnostic, atheist, and any other variation of the millions and millions of ways that people identify spiritually could use this book just to connect more to their day-to-day life and feel more present. So that's my review. I hope you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.